I'll give a quick intro and then we can start.
Yeah.
It is such an honor and privilege to have Professor Karvembu address the students of our workshop, Mathematical Inception, organized in collaboration with the Teaching Learning Center of IIT Madras and Veveaham schools. Professor Karvembu is a professor of chemistry at IIT Trichy with an extraordinary academic and research profile. In particular, he is recently elected as a Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, such a prestigious international recognition for his work in the field of chemistry. Anna, thanks for accepting our request to address the young children. It is so inspiring to see your journey from a small town to what you have achieved today. Kindly share your journey as a science researcher, and then we can have a small interaction at the end with the kids over here. Over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Lanju. Very good evening to all my dear students and other teachers and organizers. At the outset, I thank Ilanju and other organizers for inviting me to give a lecture for the students who are attending this 1-week workshop on mathematical inception. This is conducted by Ilanju in association with Teaching Learning Center of IIT Madras and Veveaham Schools, Dharampuram. So the title given to me was The Journey of a Science Researcher. My journey was not so great, but still it was steady, and it is progressing slowly, but the life is not like 100-meter sprint. It is like a marathon. Right? So it is a long journey. So it is still progressing. And recently I have been admitted by Royal Society of Chemistry as a fellow of the society. And that was the main reason that the organizers invited me to give a talk today. But it is not fully mainly about the fellowship that I have got. But as Ilanju said, or as this title implies, I have got this fellowship, or the society has admitted me as a fellow because of the success that we have got during the long journey. I was born in a very small town near Dharampuram. It is Chinna Dharampuram. My father was retired, was a teacher, and he's a retired headmaster also. My mother is a housewife. It is very much a middle class family. And I have done most of the schoolings and colleges in state-run educational institutions, some in government institutions and some government-aided institutions. And I have to start my journey with my father, of course, because he is my first role model, always. He is a very courageous person and open-minded person. He was a very good teacher and well known among the public as well as among his students for his teaching and for the way in which he helped his students, or the way in which he shaped his students and so on. And that was my first inspiration. And I started my first schooling in the same town. I studied in an aided school that is called as RC school from 1st standard to 3rd standard. That's a Christian missionary school. Not a well-known school, but at the time, that was the only good school in that area or in that particular town. And after third standard, I moved to another school near Chinadarapuram in Arikaran Valasu. That is the government middle school. I studied there from fourth standard to eighth standard, where I met several teachers. I mean, who were all so much inspirational to me till today. And one such teacher is Arumugham Ayya. We fondly call him so. And of course, he was classmate of my father, school classmate of my father. And he was my second role model, such a sincere person as well as a teacher. And there are some other teachers, like there was a maths teacher called Mr. Pichayappa, very good maths teacher. And then after that, I moved to another school for my 9th and 10th standard, St. Mary's Higher Secondary School, Dindigul. So that was the first time, from a very village kind of schools, I moved to a slightly better town-based school, right? That is situated in Dindigul. That was a very good experience because I stayed in a hostel. I met many friends, many teachers there also. Then for 11th and 12th, I moved to another school, of course, many schools in which I studied. 11th and 12th, I studied in Gandhi Kalanilayam. There are many reasons for moving, to various schools. This Gandhi Kalanilayam is located in Pungamuttur, that is on the way to Anaimalai from Udumalpet. And that is also government aided school. And I mean, this is my school life, of course, from first standard to 12th standard. And it was a very fruitful schooling I had. There were so many inspirational teachers. And one teacher I told you already, Arumugham Ayya. He was a Tamil teacher, but in middle school, one can teach many subjects also. And why I say, he's very special to me. We had such kind of a relation, even after I left that particular school in Arikaran Valasu, at least every year he used to write a letter. Every Pongal he used to send a greeting card. Once in 6 months, unless otherwise I am in abroad, he used to talk with me by phone. It is not just a simple teacher-student relationship. This is something more than that. Not only with me, he maintained the same kind of relationship with many of the students, who have studied in that particular school, right? And that is the resemblance between Arumugham Ayya and my father. My father also had the similar kind of habits. Till now, he used to call his students and talk. And many of his students call my father and discuss. Even the students, they used to discuss about their family, about what the son is doing or daughter is doing, or some suggestions or maybe advice for the sons or daughters. Now, the relationship between teacher and student, those kind of relationships, now it is very hard to see. But in those days, I mean, it existed commonly. There were many teachers, but I come across this teacher and my father. My father was not my teacher, of course. I did not study with him, but still. And there were resemblances between my teacher Arumugham Ayya and my father. And in 11th and 12th, there were some good teachers, and one of the important teachers that I should mention here was my chemistry teacher. He's Mr. Silvaraj, who passed away 3 or 4 years back when he was doing his duty during election in a booth, so in the election booth itself, he passed away due to heart attack. That news has come in TV also. Some of you might remember, I do not. At the time, he was very young. He was bachelor. He has just joined as a teacher. Maybe after 2 or 3 years of experience, his experience, I studied under him. Such a very wonderful teacher. And I mean, of course, because of that inspiration, I took this chemistry as my career, right? So now, and even now, like Armugamaya, Selvaraj, he was in touch with me till he passed away. Even after I joined here, the thing is, whatever some doubts he gets, he used to call me. That was really very surprising for me. He was my teacher. Since I am a chemistry professor here, he wants to know some advanced things, in the topics that he teaches in schools. He used to call me and discuss with me over phone. Now, that was the relationship I had with many of my teachers. That is very important part of my journey. And actually, I have grown up among many teachers. That's very important. And that naturally lead me to this teaching profession, right? Since my, and not only my father was a teacher, my paternal uncle was a teacher, and many of my relatives was teachers. And interestingly, later my wife is also a teacher, and my father-in-law was also a teacher, and he's a retired government school headmaster. All along from schools till now, my journey is with teachers, surrounded by many teachers, or relationship with many teachers. And that's really a very interesting thing. And in college, after 12th, I cannot say I got great mark or the highest mark, but relatively I have got higher mark in chemistry. So naturally, I preferred BSc chemistry. So my father did not insist me anything else. He just asked what you want to join. I told him I want to join BSc chemistry. And there was also a proposal that one of my relatives, suggested my father to admit in an engineering college. So only one self-finance engineering college was started in Karvembu at that time. And because that relative, his son is also of my age. So we belong to the same batch. So he wants both of us to join in the engineering college. But it did not happen because I was not interested. And okay, then my father suggested me only the college. He wants me to admit in St. Joseph's College. And of course, I agreed because I did not know at the time which is best or at all. He has experience. He helped many of his students to get admission in different colleges. And of course, he did not get admission in St. Joseph's College. That was the main reason that he wants to admit his son in St. Joseph's College. And at the time, that was the famous science college. Of course, now also it continues. And I studied in St. Joseph's College, BSc Chemistry, as well as MSc Chemistry, 5 years. And that was the another part of the journey. The school was one part, and college is the second part of my journey. After having grown up in a very small town and studied in Almost, no, except 2 years, 9th, 10th in Tindakal, all the 10 years I have studied in a small place. But coming to Trichy, and some of you might have seen the college when you have, if you, have walked or if you have gone along that main God gate road, right? And it's a very majestic look. You can see the St. Joseph's College. Uh, uh, First time I have seen such kind of buildings, such kind of hostels. I stayed in hostels in schools, that was entirely different. But hostel, that was there in St. Joseph's College at the time. And stalwarts in the departments, very big professors, right? And really that scared me, because being from a very, normal family, not much exposed to this kind of places, right? But slowly I accustomed to that, and that was a very wonderful place, or that was very wonderful part of my journey, right? There were some professors at the time who did PhD in IITs, right? And the way in which they taught us, and again the way in which they gave subject and interest to us. I took up research only after having studied MSc in St. Joseph's College. I did not have that plan when before I joined St. Joseph's College. I did not have much plan. Maybe I don't know what plan my father had. At least he wanted me to become a teacher. Since I said chemistry, maybe he thought I might be interested in to be a chemistry teacher. But after spending 5 years, they really induced my interest towards research in chemistry. So with that interest, then again, I was very focused all along my journey. There was no confusion at all. That is very important thing. After getting MSc degree, then I wanted to do PhD in particular topic in inorganic chemistry, and I have chosen 2 professors also, and one in Bharatdasan University and one in Bharatiyar University. So since I studied in Trichy and Bharatdasan University is located in the same town, first I approached the professor in Bharatdasan University. And he's still there. He's retired and he's still there. And he's now is Ramana Fellow. But he was interested to take me because I met him and I explained why I approached him. But there is a limitation. One professor cannot take as many students as he likes. Particularly in state universities, there is a restriction. One can take 6, 7, or 8 students. So he had, he had already 8 students, and he could not take one more student at that year. Only when a student submits, then he can take one more student. Because he was a famous professor and many students wanted to join with him. Already he had the full quota of students with him. And he told me, maybe you can work for a few months, and one student is at the verge of submitting the thesis. Once he submits, you can take. But that may waste, I thought that may waste my time. Then I said, okay, I will see with the other professor, and then I will let you know. Then I directly went to Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. I met another professor there. He's Professor Natarajan. The professor who I met in Bharatdasan University, he was Professor Palni Andavan. And then I met Professor Natarajan, and he was willing to take me. But since I'm new to him, right? And he did not want to take me directly as a PhD student, and he suggested me to do MPhil, and after MPhil, he assured me that he would take me for PhD. Then I did MPhil there, but not with Professor Natarajan. There are some rules and regulations for allotting guide for MPhil. For allotting MPhil, they won't consider the interest of the students at the time in that university. So I was allotted to another professor in another field, but he was also a very nice person. No, I was very fortunate to have, very good teachers, and some are very great teachers. And after MPhil, as he assured, he took me as a PhD student. I took in a project, and then I got PhD degree in the year of 2002. That was a very, very wonderful period. Again, that's the third part. The first part is my schooling. Second part is my 5 years of stay in St. Joseph's College. But when I want to talk, St. Joseph's College, I told you it was a very important part of my journey. Till now, the college gives me a lot. I don't know whether I have given anything to St. Joseph's College, right? When I was leaving the college, and the new hostel has recognized me as the best outgoing student. And later, 2 years back, the department has given me the Distinguished Alumnus Award in chemistry. And of course, very recently, I was admitted as their academic council member. Academic council is the highest council in any autonomous college. And only with the approval of the council, the principal can take any decision, any policy decision. And like this, I am always, with all the teachers I studied, with all the institutions I studied, I'm keeping in touch, right? And all these teachers and these institutions, they have done a lot to me, but I'm not sure what I have done to them, but they did a lot to me. And coming back to this Bharatiya University and about Professor Natarajan. He was my PhD supervisor. He's a very straightforward person, honest person, and a very dignified person. We can say a lot of things about Professor Natarajan. And above all, he's a real human being, right? That is very, very important, right? And he did a PhD in IIT Kanpur in 1970s. And he did postdoctoral research in Germany as well as in USA. And one of his postdoctoral supervisor is the PhD student of a Nobel laureate. And he has a very good background and well-experienced person, and he has very good connections also. And like other teachers, till he's in good health and he's living in Coimbatore, we are in good touch. And many of his students are working as professors in different state universities, and many have become college principals, and a few of his students settled in abroad. And almost all of his students, we serve society in different capacities, mainly as teachers. And the honesty and the straightforward in all his actions. From that, I have learned a lot of things. Whatever wealth you get, that may be education or money. Wealth is not just money. A lot of different kind of wealth. Whatever you earn, whatever kind of wealth you earn, that you have to earn honestly. That is very, very important. Then only you can enjoy the wealth. Our great poet Thiruvalluvar said, "Aran eenum, inbamum eenum, thiran arindu, teedindri vandam." Right? So if you acquire wealth honestly, right, then only you can enjoy it, right? Then only that would be permanent wealth. Right? That would be with you. That would be useful for other generations, or no, that you will make use by using the wealth, you will do a lot of other things. Right? So then it's a very good teacher, I told you, no? That inspired me, and I have attended all his MSc classes. We need not attend, no? We can do our experimental work, we can do our project work. Only in the first year, a PhD student should complete some courseworks, 4 or 5 courseworks. After that, we need not attend any class. We can focus on our research work. But inspired by his teaching, all the 5 years, I have attended all his MSc classes. No, he allowed me to attend. I was sitting in the last bench. But I know I will not write the examination. I won't answer any of his questions that he poses to his students. I was just observing his classes. That was a very, very wonderful experience for me. Later, I suggested all my juniors who did PhD with Professor Natarajan to attend the classes. Few of them followed it. Because the same class we have attended in colleges also. We have studied the same subject in our MS, but the way in which he taught to the students, that was entirely different. Very inspiring kind of a teaching, right? I mean, of course, we got first class in MSc and everything, but the good understanding of the subject, many of the PG subjects I have got only in Bodleian University while I was doing PhD. That was the truth, right? That because of Professor Natarajan. Again, no, that was further motivation for me to take up teaching as my career. Since I have completed PhD also, no, it was teaching and research. But you cannot do research without teaching. But you can do in industry, and there are some research institutions that is different. Research helps teaching and teaching helps research, right? And that is followed in most of the US, UK or Europe universities. The great professors, Nobel laureates, they used to teach the first year undergraduate students, right? Because these both are interconnected, teaching and research. The research I have done during my PhD and during my postdoctoral research, and the research that I am doing now, no? Ellen, is there any problem?
You can continue. There are some disturbance.
Yeah, okay. Now, after I come to teaching, my research perspective, there was a very huge change in that. Previously, when I was doing PhD or postdoc, the supervisor will give a problem, or we can also choose a problem, we work on it. But really, we did not know these problems are really useful to the society, or they solves any fundamental problem, right? Maybe that was helpful to publish some papers. But after I become a teacher, particularly in the National Institute, and we are having very good students. They all come here after qualifying national level examinations, right? The students pose a lot of questions, and we try to find out answers, right? And sometimes we don't get answer from the book. So that led to several research problems for me, right? And then because of the research, you get a lot of information that you can share with the students during lectures. So this research and teaching are very much interconnected, right? And in a teaching, particularly in a teaching institute, you require. And then after my PhD, I have done postdoctoral research in Pohang University of Science and Technology in South Korea. And that is a private university funded by POSCO. POSCO is a Pohang steel company. That is the world's largest, second largest steel producing company. And the first one is the company of the Lakshmi Mittal, the Indian, right? The second, but that company is not in India, that's in other country. But the second largest company is the POSCO Pohang Steel Company. And the steel company runs a university. And that university at the time, maybe now also, I'm not sure, the Asia's second best university. And it also comes within hundreds of the QS World Rank. So there are some world ranking for top universities and institutes. And that is considered as one of the best universities in Asia. I did postdoc there for 1 year. I came back. Again, no, he was also a very nice professor, but their work culture is slightly different. But that gave me a lot of exposure to research. Because I did, as I said, till PhD, I studied only in state government funded institutions. But when I did postdoc, there was a very huge gap. I was exposed to very fantastic facilities at Pohang, good experience. And after that, I worked in 2 private colleges, 1 year each. Then I joined in National Institute of Technology. And that is the another turning point in my life. Having studied in state-run institutions, getting a teaching position in a centrally funded institute is not so easy, right? You may not know now, but maybe you may realize it later. And very interestingly, some of you might be aiming for writing JEE main as well as JEE advanced. You may have aim or goal of joining in NITs or IITs, right? And admission in NITs is based on the rank you score in JEE main. Admission in IITs is based on the rank you get in JEE advanced. But counseling is conducted together. There's no separate counseling for IITs and NITs. Counseling is together. But when a seat is allotted to NIT, it is based on JEE main rank. When a seat is allotted to IITs, it is based on JEE advanced rank. That's all. This NIT Trichy is the top NIT, right? There are 31 NITs, and this is the first NIT. And before 2005, this was Regional Engineering College, Tilshap. All the regional engineering colleges existed in India were converted into National Institute of Technology. Some states were not having regional engineering college. In those states, new NITs were established after 2005. And I joined here. That was the first recruitment after NIT in 2006 in NIT Tilshap. It was a huge competition. Of course, 4 faculty were recruited in chemistry department. And among the 4, my rank was number 1. And the committee placed me in number 1. And of course, we 4 joined together. Then within a year, I joined in 2006. Within a year, in 2007, again, there was an advertisement. So I have applied for the higher position, assistant professor. First, I joined as a lecturer, but that designation is that does not exist now. After 6th pay commission, that is converted into assistant professor. The lecturer is converted into assistant professor. And previously, there was assistant professor, and that is now converted into associate professor as far as this NIT structure is concerned. And professor remains as professor. And after 1 year in 2007, And again, I have applied for assistant professor, then I have got it. And of course, we, even from our department, some of the my colleagues have applied, and they have selected only me from the department, and one direct assistant professor is recruited from outside. And of course, he was a student of IIT Madras, and now he moved to IIT Hyderabad. He is a professor there. That is a different story. And again, when I was recruited as assistant professor, 2 were selected. I was placed in number 1 rank. And of course, in both the interviews, the experts were very much satisfied. And of course, I don't know, and there were many reasons for that. And then the assistant professor designation was converted into associate professor. Then I have become associate professor. Then later I have become a professor. Again, when I was a professor, 3 of my colleagues were promoted to professor. And again, I was placed in number 1 rank. And as I told you, we have many colleagues in the department. Most of them did PhD or did their MSc in centrally funded institutes like IITs or CSR laboratories or equivalent institutes. But being from a state university, it was not so easy to start a career in MIT. But I received lot of support, right? I must be grateful to all those who have supported me here, right? To start my career as a researcher as well as a teacher at NIT teaching. All the directors, the one who recruited me, later, the one who gave me promotion until now, all the directors supported me. I don't know why they have supported me, but I got support from all the directors, all of my colleagues, more importantly, my students. Now I have completed my 17 years of service at NIT Tiruchirappalli. I graduated 19 PhD students and guided many MSc projects. And of course, many MSc students, I taught to many MSc as well as BTech students. All along, I have got a very good support from my students. Whatever recognition I'm getting, as Ilanji said, recently I've been admitted as a fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry. For our contribution, I cannot say for my contribution, because whatever paper we publish or patent we file, it's because of the work done by my student. Of course, we give some suggestions, we provide some guidance, that's different. But the work is done by the student. Of course, as far as I am concerned, I invite suggestions from students, I invite ideas from students, right? The ideas that I got from students, the papers that we published from those ideas were the better papers than the ideas, the papers that we have published from my own ideas. So my students are very, very important part, or integral part of my growth, particularly in terms of research, right? And of course, this admitting, I have been admitted as a fellow of a society, that is one thing. And already I was nominated as by an eminent professor, and because of that, I have been included in the editorial board of a very important journal in my area. That's a SE journal published by LCBR, that is called as Inorganica Chemica. So there were, some other small recognitions then and there. And it's all because of my students, well-wishers, and the administrators at NIT, and the support I had, also from my relative side, from friend side, collaborators. So that's very, very important, right? And I think some of you know about the Nobel Prize, right? And that is the highest recognition for any research, right? And the Nobel Prize is being given from the year 1901. So far, 954 individuals have got Nobel Prize, and a few organizations, 27 organizations have received, mainly for peace. Organizations were given Nobel Prize for peace. 954 individuals have received, and few of them have received more than once. I could see some female students here. Correct, Elanju? How many female students here? Approximately.
Only around 30.
13. 13, 1 3. 30. That's so maybe half or more than.
More than half.
That is very excellent news for me. Because among 954 individuals, can you guess how many women Nobel laureates? Any girl students can answer? Just guess some number. Among 954 Nobel laureates, how many women Nobel laureates? Can you guess?
So one of our students
Yes.
said that 100 to 200 is correct guess.
100 to 200 is a very wide range, but anyways, okay. Any other answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Boys also can answer.
Yeah. Boys are suggesting it's 300.
300. Oh, good. Okay, but the actual number is 60. So far, so it means it is less than 6%. Right? The first woman who got Nobel Prize is Marie Curie. I'm sure that all of you know about Marie Curie. She got 2 Nobel Prizes, and her family is a Nobel family. Marie Curie, her husband Pierre Curie, her daughter Juliette Curie, her son-in-law Frederick Curie, all received Nobel Prizes. Right? Marie Curie got 2 Nobel Prizes, one for physics and one for chemistry. And why? There were not many women Nobel laureates, particularly in the early times, because the Nobel Prize is being given from 901. There was a lot of hesitation in the society. Not many women choose research as their career. Not many women studied, of course, in our country, right? Even worldwide, not many women have chosen research as a career. I mean, that's not big. It doesn't mean that they're not capable. It is because of the hindrance from the society. It is a social problem. But later, the situation improved, and slowly we are getting a Nobel Prizes, but still not many. The 60 is very, very less number, right? And some 2-3 years back, we have invited a woman Nobel laureate, is Ada Yonath. He received Nobel Prize in 2009 for chemistry. He visited our institute. Any of you know something special in 2009 Chemistry Nobel Prize? This Ada Yonath, yes. Any answer is there? Fine, no issues. And if Ada Yonath in 2009 shared Nobel Prize with an Indian, Venkat Ramakrishnan, we call as Venki, right? So both of them received Nobel Prize for chemistry in 2009. He visited our institute and she has given a very wonderful talk for our students. The hall was full of female students. All female students were there. And of course, we have not restricted, and boys were also present. Why I said it was a wonderful speech. He inspired every female students in our institute. She inspired. She told, I'm also a very ordinary woman, like any woman in the world. How? I was a daughter. No, all of you are a daughter. All the girls here, you are a daughter of a parent. So I was a daughter. I was wife, right? Then I was also a parent. I have, a son or daughter. And I'm also a grandparent. Now, when she came to our institute, at the time, she was also a grandparent. So like any other woman in the world, she is also a very ordinary woman. But what is special with her? She overcame all the hurdles she faced. That is very important. We cannot blame that there is a hurdle in the society that prevent me to do this or that. Right? She's a very ordinary woman. She also faces all the hurdles like any other woman faces in the world. But the only difference why few achieve greater heights, they overcome the hurdles they face. That is very, very important when you want to achieve anything. Right? And when we talk about the Nobel Prize, we should also talk about Indian Nobel Prize winners. Any Indian Nobel Prize winner you can you name? Ilanju, can I take 5 more minutes?
Can take any name? Sir Raman.
Very good.
Kailash Satyarth, who received a Peace Nobel Prize.
Yes, good. Excellent. Okay.
Someone is suggesting Mother Teresa.
Correct. Okay. We can consider. Okay. The first Indian Nobel laureate was Rabindranath Tagore. He got Nobel Prize in the year 1913. Please remember, my dear students, he was not first Indian Nobel laureate. He was the first Asian Nobel laureate to receive prize for literature. He was the first Asian to receive Nobel Prize in literature in 1930. I'm very happy that one of you said a very correct answer, Sir Veveaham. He received Nobel Prize in the year 1930 for physics. Again, you should know, he was the first Asian to receive Nobel Prize in science. There are about 10 Indian Nobel laureates, but I must say only these two are 100% Indian Nobel laureates. Others are like Mother Teresa. He born in some other country, but he was Indian citizen. But he born in other country. He did all his service in India. But other Indians, they born in India and they did all their work in abroad, either in USA or UK. But Rabindranath Tagore and C.V. Raman, they born and brought up. They born here, they studied here, they did all their work, maybe a literary work or the science work, whatever it is. They did all their work in India. So only these two are 100% Indian Nobel laureates. And now what I want to mention here, C.V. Raman born in Trichy, not far away from the place where you are sitting now. maybe 180 kilometers far away. He born in Trichy, and of course later he moved because of the transfer of his father. And of course, you definitely have seen the video about Srinivasa Ramanujan. He was born in Erode. He spent his early days in Kumbakonam. Erode and Kumbakonam not far away from the place where you are sitting now, or where you are born, or where you are studying now. Right? Now these people have reached greater heights. What does indicate? We can also reach. What we have to do, the first thing, we have to overcome the hurdles we faced, as I said already, or as said by Nobel laureate, Ada Yonath. Okay, and again, how we are going to be remembered in future, that is also very important. How this Nobel Prize has come? Who is giving money to this Nobel Prize? Or for Nobel laureates, to Nobel laureates? This was the fund. I mean, there was a scientist known as Alfred Nobel. He had, you may surprise, he had 335 patents. Now we are talking about patents in India. Only now we are talking about patents. In 18th century, he had 335 patents. One of his greatest inventions is dynamite. That's explosive chemical. What is the special about dynamite? There are many explosive chemicals. What is special about dynamite? It can explode in water. No, only after the discovery of the dynamite, the many underwater structures have been developed. Where if you want to develop structures under the water, then you need this dynamite. Because of that, he earned a lot of money by selling the dynamite. He became a rich person, right? One day, there was a news in the newspaper. Actually, his brother passed away. But one French newspaper mistakenly, in an obituary column, published that Alfred Nobel passed away. He read his obituary in the newspaper. But how? They have written in the newspaper, in the obituary column, right? The merchant of death is dead. Why merchant of? He was a merchant because he was selling a dynamite. But the dynamite is an explosive chemical. Because of that, many people died, while they used this dynamite for creating underwater structure. Accidentally, many have died. Many died, right? So because of that, the newspaper in the obituary column, they published as the merchant of death is dead. Then he realized, I am going to be remembered like this after my death. Then he thought, no, I should not be remembered like this. So we should also think how we are going to be remembered after my life. Anyway, for some years, we exist in the earth. After that, some more will come. We will disappear. That is a natural process. Right? But how we remember Gandhi? How we remember C.V. Raman? How we remember Rabindranath Tagore? Right? So, after that, after reading that news, that false news, of course, then Alfred, he has written a will. He has allotted all his assets for creating this Swedish Nobel Academy. Then he wrote in the will that this money would be utilized for giving the highest prize in the world for the contributors or who are contributing for the mankind, for the society, or for the well-being of the mankind or well-being of the society. Now, only with that money now we are giving, or the Swedish Nobel Academy is giving the Nobel Prize. Initially only a few subjects, and later on few other subjects were also included in the Nobel Prize. Right? Then interestingly, the father of our nation, Gandhi, nominated 5 times for Nobel Prize. He did not get. If Gandhi is not given Nobel Prize for peace, who else deserves Peace Nobel Prize? That's very unfortunate, right? The whole world knows who is Gandhi, but he was not given, but he was last nominated in the year 1948. And at the time, the Academy has decided, or the jury has decided to give Nobel Prize before announcement. You all know that how Gandhi died, right? The Nobel Prize should not be given, should be given for a live person. They have some regulations, right? So because of that, we lost one Nobel Prize. But Nobel Academy has expressed regret letter that we should have given Nobel Prize to Gandhi when he was nominated earlier. Because the 1948 was his 5th nomination. That was not the first nomination. That Nobel Academy has expressed its regret that no, we failed our duty, that he should have been given a Peace Nobel Prize earlier. So there were many great people emerged from our country. We are all very normal people, but the journey of everyone is very long. I was so happy that Ilanje has given a quote I have seen yesterday in the WhatsApp message, the first day event about it, he was, he posted it in the WhatsApp group. He has given a quote: if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk longer, walk together. I don't know, this may be this is the exact phrase, but the meaning is the same, right? And our journey is like a marathon. You all know Usain Bolt, right? He's the fastest man in the world. He is the world record holder for 100-meter sprint, right? He took only 9.58 seconds for crossing 100 meters. I do not know how many of you, I do not know how many of you are aware of who is the record holder in marathon. A Kenyan known as Eliud Kipchoge is the record holder in marathon. Like Usain Bolt in 100-meter, this Kenyan, Usain Bolt is a Jamaican, right? A Kenyan, this Eliud Kipchoge. And the record, do you know the distance of the regular marathon conducted in Olympics is a 42 kilometers. You have to run 42 kilometers. Can you imagine? Right? And this Kenyan is having the world record of completing the marathon or 42 kilometers in 2 hours, 1 minute, 9 seconds. That's still the world record. In 2 hours, approximately, let us take in 2 hours, he completed 42 kilometers of run. But why I wanted to say here, Usain Bolt cannot win marathon, and this Kenyan Eliud Kipchoge cannot win 100-meter sprint. Okay. So you must decide your goal and you have to work for it. 100-meter sprint is different from marathon. You need a different practice for 100-meter race and for a marathon. So what you want to be, right? So in which path you want your journey should be, right? And you have to work for it, right? You have to plan for it. That is very, very important here, right? You have to build a positive attitude and you have to look for the positives. If someone speaks negative about your goal or about your preparation, some will say, no, you cannot clear this JEE advanced. That is very, very tough. You know, every year, many students join in IITs. They are all students only. No, they are not coming from somewhere else. You can. So you have to think positive, right? You have to take only the positive points from others. You have to neglect if something is negative. So you should be an optimist. That is very important. So, I mean, during the journey, there may be many success, but you should not sleep over one success. Then that is the stop of the journey. Right? Once Tendulkar said, there may be some Tendulkar fans. After 1 century, he said in an interview, no, I won't sleep over this century. Today is over. Tomorrow is the another fresh day. Tomorrow is another match. You cannot say that yesterday I hit a century. You have to hit century today also, tomorrow also. In each match is a different match. Right? So one should not sleep over one success. Journey should have many failures, also have many successes. But if you reach your destination, that is the success of journey. In between, you might have faced many failures. It doesn't matter. Okay. So then, of course, you all know education is very important to attain success. But education without values is useless education. You must progress with values. You should study with values. You should know, go from one place to other place, or you should, your journey should progress with values. That is very, very important. Always willing to be a student and learn. That is very important. Don't think that once you join in some engineering college, once you get a job, you can stop learning. No. You should be willing to learn always. So journey should be full of learnings. It means that you should be a student during your entire journey. You have to motivate yourself, and also you should motivate others who are around you. And then you should not criticize and complain always. Right? Definitely there are some things that may be bad around you, but we should see how we can rectify it. We should not always complain, criticize others. Right? That is not a good habit. You should receive criticism. That is very important. You should take it positively. Then only you can change yourself. You should not get upset because of the criticism. Be always, be smile and be kind. Be a good listener. That is very important. Sometimes, before I complete the question, students will complete the answer. Many teachers like me won't like that. No, first you have to listen what others say. Then you can talk. That's very, very important. Be a good listener. Be enthusiastic always. That's very important during the journey, particularly when you face hurdles, when you face failures. Don't get upset. Be enthusiastic, because that is not the end of the journey. I told you, the journey comprises many successes, many failures. What matters, whether you reach the final destination or not. That is the final success. Right? Be honest, be sincere. That's what, this is related to values. When you make a mistake, please accept, correct, and move on. That is very important. Right? Discuss, but don't argue. There is a significant difference between these two. Right? So discuss, don't argue. I mean, because of the time, I don't want to go much onto this, and you should be grateful to your teachers, to your parents, to everyone who supported you. Right? That is very, very important. Follow good habits, particularly good food habits. Maintain your health. That is very, very important. Right? So I wish you all very best. And I'm sure this workshop conducted by Elanju would be very much useful for your career. Right? And since you are attending this mathematical inception workshop, I assume that you are all interested in writing JEE examination. And sometimes, of course, some of you might be interested in NEET, or some of you might have interest in pursuing career in science, whatever. No, you should please pursue, a career. And it's not just career, it's your passion. That's very important. You have to involve yourself and you take that course as you like. Like Elanji is here, he took mathematics because of his passion. That's very important. Then only you can enjoy your studies. I wish you all very best. I wish all successful in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for sharing your fulfilling journey from childhood, and also most importantly for showing them the possibility of having larger goals, and importantly telling that people who do great things are just normal people like us. And I just have one question that I wanted to ask. You mentioned that you are a researcher, teacher, and administrator.
Yes.
What is the most fulfilling part for you as a researcher, teacher, and administrator?
Yeah. So, in institutes like NIT, IITs, or the universities, one has to go through all these three aspects. I told you already, teaching and research, these two are integral part. You cannot separate these two. When you do research, and you have to do administration parts. And naturally, I told you, I have grown up, with many teachers, right? And family, there are many teachers, and there were good teachers for me. I had good relationships. And because of that, I had a good rapport always with the students. So finally, that made me as Dean Students Welfare. And of course, I was in different position. And my father used to say, but of course, this elaborate answer. And my father used to say that whatever position you are getting, you should try to get it in a younger age. Only that would benefit and that would get name. And because of his words and blessings, I was head of the department of chemistry in NIT Trichy before I was 40 years of age. And after some other administration positions, now I am Dean Students Welfare before 50 years of age. This is not a common in this system. And of course, all these things are essential: teaching, research, and administration. But the precise answer for the question is I enjoy teaching much.
Okay. So we'll ask one question that you mentioned. You told that you do not know exactly that you will become a researcher when you are doing BSc and on the other hand, you told that it's very important to stay focused. Focus on what you are working on. It looks like a contradictory thing. On one hand, you do not know exactly what to do. On the other hand, you have to stay focused on something.
Yes.
So, at this age might have the same doubt. So, can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Now, during the long journey, and based on the people you meet, based on your experience, you can also change the path, right? I told you the destination is very important, and there is no just one path for that particular destination. Based on the experience, we can even select a different path, right? And though that is the reason. So here, and because of my journey through this St. Joseph's College and some great teachers, no, so that has elevated my objective, no. So but I did not have any objective. So then after this point, then that led me to become a researcher and a teacher.
It's important to stay focused on what are the journals currently on one hand, and also be open to seeing what great things comes along with it. To take them as we I understand it in that way. I understand it in a way that while we are staying focused on whatever that we are doing currently, it's also important to be open on what new and better things that comes along with it.
Absolutely, yes.
Any questions from the students? There is one.
Sir, from your experience, what do you think is the beauty of research?
Can you repeat? Yes.
Yeah, sure. So she is asking, what is the beauty of research? I think she wants to understand what is research life is like. Researcher's life is like. Why should even she is interested in pursuing physics.
Excellent.
And she wants to know how a researcher's life is like. What is so interesting about it?
Okay. No, you know that generally people think research means discovery of something new, right? In my opinion, particularly in the experimental related subjects like chemistry, physics, research is not something inventing new or discovering new. I mean, whatever we discover, it means it already exists, but we are not aware of it. For example, hemoglobin was, the scientists revealed that every human is having hemoglobin in the 17th century, for example. It doesn't mean that human is having hemoglobin only in the 17th century. It already exists, but we are not aware of that, right? So this is searching the unknown things which are already existing. So that is my personal understanding about research, right? And then about the life of a researcher, definitely if you are a researcher, you will enjoy your life. And you have to spend a lot of time. We have to compromise many other things. But at the same time, if you understand something new, right, which does not exist in the textbook, that gives you a lot of satisfaction. That is that drives researcher to go further. Now, Elanju?
Person who is doing research and math, they also observing patterns that already exist, but which is not in the textbook, which you meant.
Correct.
I think students have experienced that in the past 4 days.
Yes.
A very known example is that multiples of 9, when you add any multiples of the digits of multiples of 9, it turns out to be 9 again.
Yes.
For the first time, they proved it by themselves.
Mm.
So they observe the pattern, but they also start seeing how we can tell that is true.
Correct.
It shows them the experience of being a researcher. Something that's not there in the books, but they observe, but they start proving that it is true.
Yes.
Any other questions? Student is asking, can you share about your experience of becoming an FRS?
Also, Ilanju, for the Ilanju?
Yes.
I mean, since you said one student is interested in research.
Correct.
So, I mean, people think if we have very good facilities, you can do wonders. Or some think that if you have good funding, you can do wonders. But it is not so.
Okay.
Right? I mean, for that student, it's about your thinking, how you approach your subject. Raman received Nobel Prize before independence. After independence, no Indian got Nobel Prize for his work in India.
Right.
But you can imagine how much fun Raman has got in those days. But how much fun now scientists are getting nowadays. Right? How much fun nowadays government is allotting to research or education. Before independence, without any facility, Raman has got Nobel Prize because of his, the thinking and approach and attitude. That is very important to become a researcher.
Right. I think that is more important than money and resources. Again.
Yes.
So there is one more person here asking that, can you share your experience of becoming an FRS? How did it feel, and what was when you are elected as a fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, what was your thoughts and emotions and feelings? Can you share those?
Yeah. So I was so happy. So just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, I met Ilanju in IIT Madras. Only the previous day I got this news. And even on that day, I was not in mood to tell him. I was I was thinking something else. I was very happy, and first I shared the news with all my PhD students in WhatsApp group because it was possible. I told already it was possible because of my students. I was so happy, and it was because of the students. Okay. And of course, that motivated me to do a lot more. Yeah.
It's so nice to see being grateful. I think it's important that these young people also see that it's important to be grateful to the people around when we do great things.
Yes.
We'll go for one more question. If there are any questions, and then mine. Any more questions? Yeah, one final. So the question is that what problem that you solved or what work of yours helped you get FRS? It may be one problem or a collection of work over the time. And also they're asking what idea did you get to solve the problem?
Yes, a very interesting question. And of course, this FRSC is not awarded for solving one particular problem, and it is for the overall contribution of a person in particular field of chemistry. But still, very recently, I mean, we are working in the field of catalysis and bioinorganic chemistry. Some students work in catalysis, some in bioinorganic chemistry based on their interest. And the one who did work in catalysis, normally people used to prepare a new catalyst for chemical conversions or chemical reactions. It was only a student's idea. I did not do anything. And he was discussing with me, and of course I said, okay, we can proceed with that. He isolated a catalyst from a sand, river sand. And near our institute, there is a Kallanai. Most of you must know about Kallanai Dam. And from the bank of the Kallanai Dam, he took a sand. And from the sand, he recovered a material called as magimite. Magimite is a simple iron oxide. And he has separated magimite from the sand by means of a simple magnetic separation method. And that magimite is shown a very good catalytic property. And he has used it as a catalyst because we are not using the sand. Of course, for the construction purpose we use. But other than that, no other purpose we use sand, right? But he found that sand can be used as a catalyst. Not sand as such, but we can derive catalytic material from the sand. And that magimite iron oxide was used as a catalyst for converting the waste biomass. What do you mean by waste biomass? Every day you are getting a lot of leaves fall on the ground, right? And we just dispose. That's a waste biomass. And that magimite was used as a catalyst for converting waste biomass into very useful fuel. The fuel means there are some chemicals used as, what fuel we are using, mostly they're hydrocarbons. Now there is another fuel called as GVL, gamma valero-lactone. That's coming up. That's being tested as a fuel. That gamma valero-lactone can be obtained from a waste biomass, right? And for this conversion, and he has used this catalytic material from the sand. So we published it in the American Chemical Society Journal, Sustainable Chemistry and Engineering, because there is a sustainability here. We have used natural material as a catalyst, and we have made fuel from a waste material, right? And this is one of the very useful and widely recognized work that we have done in recent times.
Very interesting work. I hope that, yeah, I saw. Any more questions before we go into the last one? Okay. Anna, thanks a lot for your time. I think in various aspects, in terms of values, in terms of having larger goals, and telling that people who do great things are also people like us, and inspiring the young children. And thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for sharing your thoughts with the children over here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I took a long time than expected, and also I joined little late because of some other reason. And otherwise, this is also a fruitful session for me. There were many questions and also many answered. And once again, my best wishes to all the young students. And also, I wish the program very successful, Elanju.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll end the call.
Yes.